Good morning. We are going to start our first class of this session in history. The first chapter is French Revolution. Now, French Revolution is the landmark of the history of Europe and the world. It ended the monarchical system in France, and the slogan for French Revolution was liberty, freedom, and equality. Now, how was the French society during late 18th century? Now, in 1774, Louis XVI of Bourbon family, he was only 20 years old. He became the king of France. Now, at that time, the France was engaged in long wars, and maintenance of the court and the palace was huge. So, their uh, treasury was empty. And on top of that, Louis XVI had 13 American colonies to gain their independence. So the war added 1 billion livres to the debt, and before they have taken already 2 billion livres, and then the lenders, they charged an interest of 10% of the loan. So such a huge amount of loan they were burdened with that time in France. Now the first estate, the three estate of France was there at that time. The first estate is clergy. Clergies especially, they used to function in the church, and they used to enjoy certain privileges from birth, and they were exempted to pay any tax. Now a tax, the church levied a tax, teeth, the name is tithe, T-I-T-H-E, from the peasants, which was 1/10 of the agricultural product of them. Now second estate, that is the nobility, they were rich aristocrat people of the state, and they were also privileged classes. They never used to pay any taxes, and they used to extract money from the peasants. Now the third estate. Third estate consists of businessman, merchant, court official, lawyer, peasants, artisans, landless labor. Now they never enjoyed any privilege. They had to pay direct taxes. That is called taille, T-A-I-L-L-E, and everyday's consumption like salt, tobacco, they had to pay taxes on that, and 90% of the people were peasants in France. Now they had to struggle to survive. How they struggled? During 1715 and 1789, population of France increased rapidly, and then demand of food grain also increased. Now insufficient food production increased the prices of bread, but the wages of the workers did not increase at that time. The situation became became worse, and the weather condition was very bad, so they did not have any harvest. Now that condition created a crisis. The emergence of middle class. 18th century, a new social group emerged. They were known as middle class. They had become rich by expanding overseas trade and manufacturing goods. In addition to merchants and manufacturers, they were lawyers, administrative officials who were educated. They believed that no group of society should be privileged by birth. Now philosophers like John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Montesquieu considered middle class was sole responsible for the revolution. Now they spread the ideas of freedom, equal laws, and opportunities for all to everybody. Now what was the idea of the philosophers? Now John Locke, he wrote a book. The name of the book is Two Treatises of Government. They criticized emphasized the concept of divine and absolute right of the monarch. Number 1 point. Second point is Rousseau's book was The Social Contract. He proposed the form of government based on social contract between people and their representatives. Now Montesquieu, in his book, the name of the book is The Spirit of Law, stressed the concept of separation of powers between the legislature, executive and the judiciary. Now this concept of separation of powers was a great instrument against the despotic autocratic rule of French Empire. Now American Constitution and its guarantee of individual rights was an important example of political thinkers of France. Now these ideas were spread among the people through the books and newspapers. Now with the news, the Louis XVI is planning to impose more tax to meet the expenses of the state. It generated anger and protest against the system of privilege among the people. In this point, the outbreak of the revolution. The revolution broke at this point. Now on May 15, in 1789, Louis XVI called an assembly of the Estates General to pass the proposal for new taxes. Then first and second and third estates sent their representatives. Now first and second estates sent 300 representatives each, who were seated in rows, and third estate was represented by its more prosperous and educated members, but they faced discrimination and had to stand at the back. Now peasants, artisans and women were denied entry to the assembly, but they sent their demands and grievances through representatives. Now the members of the third estate demanded that voting should be conducted by taking assembly as a whole, but the king rejected their proposal and of the third estate, and they walked out of the assembly in protest. Now National Assembly of Third Estate. On 20th June 1789, the representatives of the Third Estate, they assembled in the hall of an indoor tennis court in Versailles. Now they declared themselves a national assembly, only the Third Estate. They also sought to draft a new constitution for France, and that would limit the power of the monarch. Now the representatives of the Third Estate were led by Mirabeau and Abésieux. Mirabeau was born in a noble family but discarded his feudal privileges. Abésieux was originally a priest. He wrote an influential pamphlet, What is the Third Estate? Now revolt starts at Bastille. Now due to severe winter harvest was affected badly, I told you. Now which led to increase in the prices of essential commodities. After spending hours in long queues in the bakery, crowds of angry women raided the shops. On 14 July 1789, the agitated crowd destroyed Bastille. Bastille was hated by all the French people as it symbolized the dominating power of the king. In the countryside, rumors spread from village to village that lords of the manor had hired bands of brigands to destroy the rice crops. Hearing this, peasants looted the grain, hoarded grain and burnt the documents containing records of manorial dues. So, only till this today. Next, I will tell you on the next class.